Hi everyone, I hope you're okay. This is the fifth video, guys, which simply means I'm doing question 5 from the 2023 November Mathematics Paper 2, which was written by the learners in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. It's a grade 10 question paper. Please note that, guys, there are 4 videos before this one, and there will be the last 4 videos after this one. Just click on the link on the description below. It will direct you straight to the playlist with a full memorandum, whereby each question has its own video, and you can download the question paper on your own, answer the questions with me. If there are things you're not sure about, please make sure that you do ask on the comment section. All right, together, and please don't forget to share the videos to your peers. Maybe it can help them with a thing or two. Yeah, just make sure that, guys, you do ask if you have problems. Né? Okay, question 5. I'm given f of x and g of x. I'm supposed to sketch on the grid provided both the graph of f and g. Okay, for the graph of f, it's a graph of sine theta. There are certain steps I need to do before I draw the graph. Because I do not use a calculator method, I'm doing it manually. The first thing I need to do is to find my period. Period is always 360 degrees all over the coefficient of the angle. Are you together? So it's 360 over 1. That's simply equals to 360. Then number 2, I must find my interval. Interval is always period all over 4, which is equal to 360 degrees over 4. That will give me 90. Okay, the interval give me the most important x values of my graph. It will either give me the x-intercept or the x value at the turning point, always the time. So it's important for me to know my interval. Né? Then after finding both the period and the interval, I must go and use my unit circle. This is called a unit circle because the distance from the center to the circumference is 1 unit. So this simply means that here I have 1 and 0. I have 0 and 1 as my coordinates, and then I also have -1 and 0, 0 and -1. Okay, since there's nothing added next to my angle, it simply means that the starting point of my graph will be when x is equal to 0 degrees. Are we together? And then after finding the starting point, for me to find the x values in here, all I need to do is to keep on adding the interval. Remember that my interval is 90. Am I given the restriction? Okay, I must draw my graph between 0 and 360. Né? So since the interval is 90, I'll just keep on adding the interval from the starting point. So 0 plus the interval, I'll simply get 90. 90 plus the interval, I'll get 180, plus the interval, that's 270, plus the interval, that's 360. Okay. Remember that, guys, the graph of f of x is a sine graph. Né? So for me to find the y values of the graph of f of x, I just need to focus on the y coordinates in my unit circle. Are you together? Because these values over here, they will always represent x values. Né? Then the corresponding y values will be these ones: 0, 1, 0, -1. So those will be the y values of my graph. Né? So how can I draw? I'll move like this. Whenever I'm at 0 degrees, what is the value of y? The value of y is also 0. I'll go and indicate at 0. When I'm at 90 degrees, what is the value of y? Remember that the value of y give me this part only, and always the time I must take whatever value of y I get and multiply it by 3. Are we together? So when I'm at 90 degrees, the value of y is 1. So I'll say 1 multiplied by 3. I'll simply get a 3. Okay, when I'm at 180, the value of y is 0. 0 times 3 is also 0. Then when I'm at 270, the value of y is negative 1. Negative 1 multiplied by 3, this will give me a negative 3. Then when I'm at 360, the value of y is 0. 0 times 3, it will give me 0. So my graph will simply look like this. Obviously yours guys will be prettier because your drawing skills are better than mine. My graph will look like that, né? Okay, and then now let's do the very same thing for cos. I must go and find the period. Period is always 360 over the coefficient of x. So we have the same period, which is 360, né? And the interval for cos, we do the same thing as we did for sine. The interval is period over 4. That's 360 over 4, and you will get 90. So there's nothing added next to an angle here. So it simply means that our starting point is at the origin. Are we together? So we are starting at 0 as well for the graph of cos. And then we'll end at 360. However, the only difference between the graph of cos and the graph of sine is that for us to find the y values of our graph, we will focus on the x values of our unit circle. We will just focus on the x values of our unit circle, always the time. Are we together? So remember that those x values will give us cos x only. And what we have to do after finding the x value, we need to multiply that x value by 2 and then add this one. Okay, so when we're at 0 degrees, what is the value of x? The value of x is 1, right? So 1 multiplied by 2 is simply 2, and then 2 plus 1 will get 3. So our starting point will be at y is equal to 3. And then when we are at 90 degrees, the value of x is 0. 0 times 2, that's 0, and then 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay, and then whenever we are at 180 degrees, the x value is negative 1. Negative 1 multiplied by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1, that's negative 1. So when we're at 180 degrees, that's where we are now. Okay, and then when we're at 270 degrees, the value of x is 0. 0 times 2 will still get a 0, but 0 plus 1, what will we get? We'll get 1. So our graph will be here when y is 1. And then at 360 degrees, the value of x is 1. So 1 times 2, we get a 2. Then 2 plus 1, simply get a 3. So our graph is supposed to move like this. Hey. Ooh. Obviously guys, your drawings have to be prettier than mine, because you are good in drawing, I believe. Yo. That's how the graphs should look like, né? Okay, and you must indicate that this is g of x, and then this one is f of x. Okay, they want us to find the amplitude of g. The amplitude is given by the coefficient over there. So the amplitude of g is equal to 2. Okay, the period of f, we did find the period. Remember that period is 360 all over 1, which is just 360 degrees. Alright, together. And the period, guys, simply tells you that a complete wave of your graph will end at 360. If my period was 120, it would have simply meant that the complete wave of my graph would have ended at 120. Okay, and then now I'm looking for the value of x for which g of x minus f of x will give me 4. Okay, that thing only happens over here when x is 270. Alright, together, because I know that g of x will be 1 and f of x will be negative 3. So when I say 1 minus and negative 3, I'll simply get a 4. So I know that g of 270 minus f of 270 is the one that will give me 4. So therefore x is just 270 degrees. Okay. And then now what am I looking for? For which values of x is f of x multiplied by g of x greater than 0? I'm looking for firstly, f of x multiplied by g of x greater than 0 simply means that I'm multiplying two things and my answer will be positive. If I'm multiplying two things and my answer is positive, it simply means that the two things that I'm multiplying have the same sign. Are you together? It's either both of them are positive or both of them are negative at the same time. So I must look for the values of x whereby both the graph of f of x and the graph of g of x is positive or negative at the same time. But what do you need to know? Your graph will be always positive whenever it is above the x-axis, and your graph will always be negative whenever it is below the x-axis. Are you together? So I know that from the starting point, which is the y-axis, until this point, both of my graphs are above the x-axis at the same time. Are you together? And also between 180 and 240, both of my graphs will be below the x-axis at the same time. So I'll simply write when x is between 0, is it 0 and 150? Let me confirm. Yeah, 0 and 150. And then the second one, when x is between 180 and 240. And 240. I think I've drawn my graph Gabi, but the x-intercept, it was supposed to be here for the graph of G, ne? So I think I'm not thinking, man. It's supposed to be 120 there instead of 150. It's supposed to be 120 instead of 150. So x is between 0 and 120 degrees. X is between 0 and 120 degrees, ne? Yeah. The values of x for which your graph, both of your graphs are above the x-axis, and the values of x for which both of your graphs are below the x-axis simultaneously. That's how you would have answered that question.